Gotta be in focus. Okay, cool. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm coming at you from a little bit different of an environment because I figured that it was about high time that I started my Beautiful Thoughts series / Cat's Corner that I mentioned back in January? But I mentioned this a few videos ago that I wanted to start doing more like mentorship type videos where I am sort of aiming towards girls who are looking for a positive female role model. And I know that sounds kind of like, what? To like set yourself up as that, but I really do have a heart for, I guess, counseling with people and, you know, just kind of encouraging them and sort of discipling them. So I've got a stack of books here that I'd like to talk about. I am sitting on my little new couch. I've got Esme down here. I don't know if you'll be able to see her through any of the video, but hopefully. Ow, she's biting me. Okay, it's fine. And I've also got some tea in my favorite mug, so I would say that we're pretty well set up for success here. So let's go ahead and get started talking about some books for beautiful thoughts. Whew, that's hot. So what I have here is just a stack of a few books that have really inspired me in the past and kind of caused me to walk in a different prism for a little while, and they make me think beautiful things. I'm just going to start with the novels first and then move on to like the more life direction books. Don't know how to categorize these. So the first book that I would like to talk about is Becoming Mrs. Lewis. This is a story about C.S. Lewis's wife-to-be. Her name was Joy Davidman. Well, Joy Davidman Gresham, to be more specific. And she was an American and was currently married when she started her friendship with C.S. Lewis. And so this is just a whole process of her going through a really rough marriage and creating this friendship with him, while at the same time navigating the 1950s as a woman who is very driven and not particularly suited to domestic life. Hey Esme, you joining us? So I thought it was just a really realistic look at what life was like back then, or what it might have been for her. I think for me, this one is powerful because it kind of presents that it is okay to ask really hard questions of God. I love that she asks tough questions and yet is not painted as a heretical person. She was just asking because she didn't know the answer. I just love their relationship. I love both of them so much. I want to read every single thing that Joy Davidman has ever written, and also that Patti Callahan has ever written. So the second book I want to talk to you about, if you are a Christian woman, you have probably heard of this novel at least once in your life. Probably 8 or 9 times from every single friend that you have. This is a book by Francine Rivers. She was a romance novel author in the beginning of her career. Well, then she got saved and she decided to start writing Christian romance novels and like historical fiction, those sorts of things. So her story is just really cool in and of itself. But then she wrote this book. I think this was the first book that she wrote since she got saved. It is called Redeeming Love. And it is a book about a prostitute in the time of the gold rush. So 1850s California. It's just really well written, first of all, from a historical perspective, but it's also loosely based around the story of the prophet Hosea from the Bible. Hosea talks about God's redeeming love and his willingness to forgive Israel, and that is carried over into this novel. And yet it's still romantic without being smutty. I think the number one thing that I love about this book is the concept of vulnerability. How unsafe that can be, and yet it is the most glorious thing when that vulnerability is shown to the right person, is shown to somebody who is worthy of it. And like the whole book, it's so funny. You're rooting for this prostitute. You're like, please just open your heart. And she's like, I literally can't. I've been hurt every single time. And it's like, I know, but just do it because God, and just, I just get it. And you're like on this side of it. And then you're like, wait a second. How many times have I not opened my heart to God and what he wants for me? That's how a book should make you feel, in my opinion. It should make you like, no, and like get really emotionally invested, and then also be able to apply it to your life. This book is really believable for that, and I think it's really powerful for that. You gotta read it. You good, Esme? You playing? You having a good time? This is my Mary Poppins mug. She's got a little bird for the handle, just like her umbrella. I know we're not supposed to be materialistic, but sometimes things just make me happy. Third book I'd like to talk about. This one is one that has been around for a while. This is really a study of femininity, but from a biblical perspective. And so it looks into like, what does God call women to be based on these iconic verses that like every woman has heard. So like Proverbs 31, and where Paul talks about, you know, not having your hair braided and wearing jewelry. But like a lot of times it's just hard to like grasp it and like what does that actually mean for me. So this one is absolutely wonderful because it talks about your worth and value as a woman, not just as a person, but like as a woman, and like what do you bring to the table exactly. I think was the most powerful concept in this book was the different meanings and purposes that beauty has. Just in the world and in our lives and in women. It's kind of a study in beauty for me. And also the fact that it's kind of a study in femininity. And it's okay to be feminine in a traditional way. You're not weak for being a woman, and you're not weak for being girly. That God put that in you for a reason. And it's okay if you don't relate to that and you're a girl and you're like, wait, I don't. There's multiple different ways to be beautiful and to be feminine. And I think that that is so true, and that is so powerful for everybody to learn. It's so positive, and it can really just carry you and carry your confidence. Anyway, I just kind of loved that, and it inspired me, and it encouraged me just to be authentic. So, love that. Definitely pick it up. It's super good. Now I'm coming to more of like, I guess, theological type stuff, because the other stuff was like, you know, it was scripturally based. But this stuff is actual like practical Christianity sort of things, like talking about how Christians believe. So I have here a book called With, and it is by the author Skye, Jethani. But this is a book that one of my parents' oldest friends recommended to me after she led a Bible study group that I was a part of in like my senior year of high school. But basically it talks about the different ways that people incorrectly try to relate to God. So it goes through like 4 different ways that are incorrect and the one way that is correct. It says right here, reimagining the way you relate to God. And for me, that's exactly what it did. Like, what does it mean that God is my friend? And so therefore, what does it mean for me to be a friend to others? Letting stuff be more about your friendship and about belonging and making people feel welcome, and basically just looking over stuff that can delay getting tasks done. When it comes to With, I think the number one thing that I learned from this book, I gotta find it for you because it's that good. Okay, so here it is. So basically, this author was working with some college students and was kind of just meeting with them and counseling with them and discipling them, etc., etc. And he wound up asking these kids, I want to know how you think God views you in the midst of your sin. So he said, in one form or another, every student gave the same answer. God is disappointed with me because of my ongoing struggles with some behavior. He expects more from me, and he cannot use me to accomplish his work in the world until I clean up my act. So I was like, okay, I'm trucking with you. How is this wrong? And he said, how many of you were raised in a Christian home? I asked. They all raised their hands. How many of you grew up in a Bible-centered church? All the hands stayed up. But not one of you gave the right answer. Not one of you said that in the midst of your sin, God still loves you. And like for me, I had to stop reading for a minute and put the book down and be like, I gotta go process this. But there were obviously like other things that have been said, and I need to reread it because it's been since probably I was like a freshman or sophomore in college that I've read this. It doesn't add any guilt to you as a Christian, which is hard to find books like this that don't add guilt and don't tell you what you need to be doing. It's like, no, what do you think about? What is true? What do we need to actually be meditating on? So this is just a wonderful meditation into how to relate to God, basically. Get it? Lastly, this is a book. I have such sweet feelings towards this book. This is called 1,000 Gifts. It was written by a lady named Voskamp. Her way of writing it's exceedingly poetic. Like, she's writing this almost autobiography of a couple of years in her life. And it's so beautiful. This book, I have such sweet feelings towards because it came at the exact perfect time in my life. And it came like many, many, many of the best things in my life through my mom, who gave me life. I can't impress you how much that is my mom's identity to me, is just the giver of life. Like, she has just spoken life into me and just encouraged me towards life so many times and like not even realized it. She's just everything that I want to be. But she gave me this book when I was in what I call my rough patch, and I've had a few of them. My mindset was not where it needed to be, and my emotions were all over the place. I was going through a lot of anxiety, and this book is one of the main things that brought me out of it. It is basically a study in gratitude. Like, what does that mean for us as Christians, and how can it affect our Christian walk and the mentality by which we live our lives? But the statement that she made was something that I had already thought about during my rough patch and realized, but I didn't exactly meditate on very much until I read this book. And it is the fact that gratitude is the direct key to happiness. That the most happy and fulfilled and content people in this world are the people who live with a mindset of being grateful for literally every breath. And it's amazing how many things she revealed that have been in Bible verses that I have quoted and memorized and heard in church so many times, but I had never thought about it from the perspective of gratitude. So kind of the plot for this book is that she was challenged by a friend to write down 365 things that she was grateful for, and she hit that number within like a week. And the things that she winds up listing that she is purposely grateful for and purposely gives thanks for are really, really tiny things. And so it was just such a wonderful and encouraging thought that there's literally always something to be grateful for. And that's so empowering to me that like I don't have to live in this despair and in this negativity that the world tries to force on me. I don't have to be focused towards myself. It really gives you this attitude almost of a stoic that like I don't have to be thrown off by every single little thing. I can still stay grounded because I have concrete evidence that God loves me. So I absolutely loved the journey that this book brought me on. And I was making notes, and my mom has some notes in here. This is going to be one that I pass on to my grandkids basically because it is just that much of a treasure to me. I love that. I love it. So anyway, these are my top 5 books for beautiful thinking. If you just need something positive to read and something that you're just going to treasure and just love the journey, these are the books that I would recommend. So I will have them all listed down below, and I'll probably have the link on like Amazon for them or Barnes & Noble or something, wherever I can find the most of them. Those aren't like affiliate links or anything. They're just there for your convenience because I really, really want you to read these. I think if you read any one of these books, I would definitely say read this one and probably also With. And then if you're interested in that concept of femininity and your identity, this guy. I think that the written word is extremely powerful, and what we put in our minds is so incredibly potent in our lives. And I think it's very easy to get very cynical in today's world and to get caught up in all the negativity and everything like that. Erin's mom calls it the wallpaper of your mind. So sometimes we just need something really, really beautiful and very like to think about. So those are all of the books that I have for you, books for beautiful thoughts. I can definitely do more stuff like this, or if there is another concept that you'd like me to talk about, I can do that. I'm here for y'all and not the other way around. And I just want to inspire you to think about, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is excellent and praiseworthy. Like, that's what I want to inspire you to think about, and just have those beautiful thoughts. That way you go out and you not only have a more beautiful life, but you can create a more beautiful world. So that's what we're going for here on the Cat McCloud channel, is just a more beautiful world. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for listening to me ramble. Thank you for grabbing a cup of tea with me. This is cold by now. If you enjoyed this video, let me know down below by leaving a like or leaving a comment. Go ahead and check out my other videos. I will probably have them right here. And subscribe to my channel for more stuff like this. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. Okay, bye!